You are not naive or weak or someone who should have known better. And yet, here you are in a relationship that makes you feel more alone than you ever did when you were single, where you are trying to be better and doing all the emotional heavy lifting, and where conversations that should take 20 minutes somehow end up in 3-day silences or circular arguments that never resolve anything. You see, the part that no one talks about is that it is often the most self-aware, emotionally intelligent people who find themselves in these dynamics. And it's not because you are broken, but it is because something that happened earlier on in your life. And today, I'm going to walk you through the signs that you might be with an emotionally immature partner, why intelligent people like you end up here more than you would think, and what's actually happening in your nervous system when this dynamic takes hold. So first, let me define what emotional immaturity actually is, because it's not the same as being a bad person, and it's not always obvious. You see, emotional immaturity is a developmental gap. It is what happens when someone reaches adulthood without having learned how to tolerate, name, regulate their own emotional states. They can be charming in public, funny, and even generous in the right circumstances. But the moment real intimacy or conflict arise, they either shut down, blow up, or redirect every time. And this is not necessarily a personality flaw you can love away. It's a nervous system pattern built long before they met you, but somehow you end up personalizing it. They treat your emotional needs like a personal attack. You see, when you bring up something that hurt you, the conversation immediately becomes about them, their intentions, their defense, their feelings about being accused. So you came to them with vulnerability and somehow you end up apologizing. This is called defensive deflection, and it is one of the most disorienting patterns of emotional immaturity, because it teaches your nervous system over time to not bring things up, to edit yourself, to decide that keeping the peace is safer than being honest. And so that learned silence, that is not peace. That is self-abandonment in slow motion and definitely festering resentment. Sign number 2, conflict does not get resolved, it gets dropped. Emotionally immature people don't have the internal capacity to sit inside discomfort long enough to reach repair. So what happens? They either escalate until you back down, or they go completely cold until the tension dissipates on its own. And that is never a real conversation or connection, right? Like, I understand why that hurt you, just a return to normal, right? No, for them, it is a personal attack. And it leaves you feeling invalidated. It makes you feel alone. It makes you question whether you are doing the right thing, whether you are the problem. So you end up feeling alone relationally. Many of my clients and members, especially parentified adults who have been trained to become invisible, end up in these dynamics and feel like an emotional orphan. And yet they feel puzzled because they say, well, but this is a very good person. They're good providers. They do this for me, but they do not feel validated enough. They don't feel that there is this level of intimacy and safety within their relationship. You see, in these dynamics, it's never a real conversation about what happened, never an I understand why that hurt you. It is just a return to normal as if nothing occurred. And there's what this does to you. It treats you to measure safety by the absence of conflict and not by the presence of actual repair and validation, or we are okay, we understand each other. Sign number 3, they are consistent in good times and inconsistent when it matters. This is one of the most confusing signs because it mimics the anxious attachment dynamic, the push and pull, right? And what happens is that you are good at anticipating needs. You can smooth things over. You end up translating your own experience into something more palatable for the person in front of you. And you see, those skills made you extraordinarily capable. And they also made emotional immaturity feel familiar because it is not something comfortable, but it is familiar because you yourself very likely have been invalidated throughout your life. So that could definitely feel like home. And on top of that, the early stage charm, the attunement of an emotionally immature partner can mimic the warmth of, that you always wanted but rarely received consistently growing up. Your nervous system recognizes that as familiarity, and it has been reaching for that and moves towards that. This is not a failure on your part or that you are emotionally unintelligent, but it is how early attachment shapes our sense of feeling loved and what actually love looks like. So you may be wondering, where do I go from here? Right? And of course, I wouldn't leave you with that. First, stop trying to have the same conversation differently. If repair is not happening after direct, clear communication, after you communicate that you value the relationship and you are assertive, not rude, not exploding. If you have explained the impact, if you made the request and nothing shifts, then the problem is not your delivery. The problem is their capacity. And that is a very big difference from you internalizing that maybe you are problematic or too difficult to love. More often than not, my clients and members feel this way, and it's so unfair. It pains me because what it is you are trying to accommodate and self-erase yourself and your needs in lieu of remaining connected to an unhealthy dynamic. Keep in mind that if over time this partner continues to put more pressure in moments where you are being very vulnerable, if they invalidate you, they walk away, if they see you having anxiety, a panic attack, and they can easily move on with their days, that is a major red flag. That is lack of empathy. And we do not want to stay in relationship with someone that does not have empathy. I think you know where that can lead to. So pay attention to those moments, Is it good only when things are fine, you're having a good time? Or let's say you are grieving. Let's say that you have a lot of pressure from work. And instead of helping you alleviate that burden after you have communicated it, because trust me, I know that as a hyper-independent person, you may be thinking, well, I didn't tell them. So make sure that you do communicate your needs because nobody will know unless you verbalize them. But if after that they still do not show up for you, they choose to be more self-centered, to dismiss your needs and treat you like you need to perform in the same manner as if you are off from work and do not support you, then there is room to definitely reevaluate the dynamics of the relationship and then make an informed decision eventually. Second, make sure that you track the pattern, not the moments. Now, what do I mean by that? Emotionally immature partners will often have moments of genuine connection that make you doubt what you experienced, right? Don't measure the relationship by its best moments. Measure it by what happens when you need something real, when you are being vulnerable. And third, grieve the relationship you wanted, not just the one you have in front of you. Part of what makes leaving or even setting limits so hard is that you are not only grieving this person, you are grieving the hope you projected onto them. The version of the relationship that kept almost being real. That grief deserves space too. Keep that in mind. And fourth, get support that is not from your partner. Your baseline for normal may be just reaching for your partner, making sure that they validate you. And that is not fair to you or even them or the relationship. Just make sure that a therapist, if you are able to, a coach, a community such as our Self-Worth Hub, or trusted friends or other family members to help you remember what it feels like to be seen without having to manage someone else's reaction to you. And that makes a world of a difference because you don't have to worry about what you want to communicate and tiptoeing around this person's defensiveness and reactions. I know it can be hard, but it can be done one step at a time, especially with a partner that genuinely cares for you. It is possible. And this is what we're out here trying to do. Just identify the people that deserve to be in your life and how you deserve to be loved. Because you didn't end up here because you're too much. You ended up here because you are someone who knows how to love in the face of unavailability. And you learned that skill somewhere. And the work is not about finding your flaw or guilting someone, but about recognizing the pattern early enough to make a different choice. And please let me know if this resonated in the comments. I read each and one of them. And if you are ready to go deeper, I am linking our Self-Worth Hub membership in the bio so you can feel compassionately heard and seen, and you have invaluable resources at your fingertips within the app and on the web. Now, let me know if this resonated for you. I will see you in the next video, and please remember your resilience.